Hello everyone, thank you very much for coming. Please welcome the Director Pawel Lozinski.
Thank you very much.
So we have a little time, we've got about 15 minutes for a Q&A, and of course we'd love to hear your questions as much as mine. So please do raise your hands if you have a question. I'll begin with a couple, but yeah, we really want you to be involved. So Pawel, thank you very much for this film. It's really, really emotional journey to be taken on. The first time that I saw it was in Idfer in the Netherlands, and having gone on that journey and then seeing these end credits, I felt a little bit of deception perhaps initially, and it took a while for me to really reconcile with what I'd seen.
You have right to have your feelings, of course.
To reconcile with what journey I'd been on,
Yes.
And to understand that this is, it's not just about the specific, it's not about a specific relationship, it's looking at this more universal idea of love and of mother and daughter.
Yes, that was our idea, of course. So they are not actors. Being the first who is asking the first question, if they are actors, no, they are not actors. It wasn't scripted. It was they. I made a huge casting for this film because in the beginning I wanted to make a film about mediation during the divorce, and I really tried for a couple of months or even years to try good couples which would agree to be in the film in this specific moment of their life, but they didn't want to agree. So I almost quit the film, but completely by chance I met a psychotherapist, a friend of my family, and she saw that I was very unhappy, and she asked one very psychological question: why you are so sad, Pawel? And I answered, I'm very sad because I cannot finish my film. What about is the film? So I told her the story. And she said, come on, but make a film about psychotherapy. I said, okay, I would love to make a film about it, but how can I even try to put the camera in the psychotherapist's room? And she said, no, there is one possibility. If you come to my therapist room with two people with, let's say, same story, not being the family, and I will make a real therapy session with them. So I met two friends of mine and proposed them to try to be in a film, in this kind of experiment. And I brought them to her therapist room, and she did it. And it worked perfectly well. So in that moment I felt that I have a key to how to make this film. And we make a very big casting. We put an announcement on Facebook that we are looking for people with different difficult stories, and that we want to construct, create a family, so pairs of people with them. And I had like more than 100 volunteers, and I met all of them. I listened to their stories, and I started to play a god. That means pairing people together. Maybe this woman with this man, or this girl with this father, and we started to shoot. And we made more than 25 different sessions with about different relations, about different problems. But in the end, we found this perfect pair of women.
Yeah.
And
was book done, the psychotherapist involved quite early on, or did you also kind of cast who the therapist would be?
No, my first choice was the lady who invented it. The other choice was two male psychotherapists, but the best one was Mr. De Barbaro. He was a master of it.
Yeah. And did you, obviously he directs the narrative of what's happening. Was there much guidance from yourself as to which direction you wanted to push?
No, not at all. He was a professional psychotherapist. I'm a professional filmmaker, so I did my job, and he did his job.
And speaking of your job, the film, I don't recall, ever features all three characters together. It's most of the time they're singular on the screen.
With panoramas, yes.
Yeah, and it's very close up, which gives you this feeling of, occasionally I felt it allows me to identify much more with each character, but also have my own presence in that space. And there's a very famous quote from the filmmaker Cassavetes that the face is, the best location in film. And it really is.
Or the most beautiful landscape,
yeah,
as Mr. Bergman used to say.
Yeah, but that closeness really, brings out, you can see every movement of the face and every tear. Was that a choice that you made during the casting process when you were shooting?
No, the casting was without camera, just talking and taking small notes about their stories. And then during the shooting, yes, we decided, after the first day of shooting, we decided to put the camera, 3 cameras, indeed, in this position. It means face to face, en face, and close as possible, yes, because of the emotions, because of eyes, because of every muscle, movements, and I wanted to have it all.
Yeah.
To have it all in the editing room too.
And were you a small crew? Were you kind of large presence?
We were like 3 protagonists and 3 cameramen. I did myself one of the camera, and 1 soundman or soundwoman in this case, and so we were 7 in a room. Yeah.
And did you feel that kind of during the therapy session? I presume you had a number of sittings, or was it kind of over a long period of time? How many sittings?
How many sittings? No, yeah. It's a very strange film, because the first time in my life it happened to me that we shot 5 sessions, and there are 5 in the film. The last one is a bit shorter than the other, and the first one is first, and the last one is last. And even during the session, which was so good conducted by the Barbaro, we just squeezed it a bit. We cut the small part of it, but we never changed the order of words, of the subjects.
Yeah, no, it's rare that a construct.
He did it, yes.
Yeah. So we have time for questions from the audience. I don't think we have another microphone, so I am going to relinquish mine towards the audience, and I'll pass it over.
Thank you, Pawel. Really, really fascinating experiment. Was there, for me, watching those 2 women, a very, very powerful kind of emotion, and I wondered if there was some kind of catharsis for them as part of the process, although they were not talking to each other, but
yes.
Yeah.
I don't know. I cannot answer this question because I really don't know, but I know that after 5, the session number 5, they were really sad because it was over. They wanted more of this experiment. And it was completely shocking for me because, as you saw it in the beginning of the film, they were like this. They met 15 minutes before the shooting. We didn't make any makeup or changing the clothes of the protagonists. We just sat like this. I knew their story before, of course. And what is interesting that after searching on Facebook and meeting a lot of people, I found those 2 ladies very close to my home because I knew Eva from the childhood of my daughters, because my younger daughter is the best friend of the real daughter of Eva. And Hania is a friend of my older daughter, so it was like very close. I searched from all city of Warsaw, and I found it very close to my home in the end. So they met. We just have like a couple of words about not about the script, but about who are you and who are you. You are the daughter, you are the mother, and there was a divorce, and it was. So please come up with your story in this experiment. So they did it very, very bravely.
There's another question in the back here.
Do you want me to pass it up to them? I can also talk
Yeah.
quite loudly.
Okay.
Thank you very much. I wanted to ask if you know of any other cinema that uses mediation this way that maybe possibly influenced you in terms of interview technique or anything else similar to what you've made here? Because
And other films, you mean?
other films or other things that may have influenced in any way?
Documentary?
Documentary.
No.
Do you foresee using this again? Like mediation is like some kind of...
Come back to the mediation subject, yes?
some kind of like interview technique or strategy or something like that? Or do you see any potential in it?
I saw very big potential, but I didn't find a way to do it, you know, so that's why I switched to the psychotherapy, which I think could be, maybe it's more interesting, more deep, because the tools that psychotherapists has are, in my opinion, much more powerful than those of mediator.
There's another question here. I think it was a lady next to you.
It just occurred to me after the events of yesterday, no, Thursday, and Trump, etc., and watching a film about Putin, would you consider making a film with our politicians? 'Cause kind of I feel we're living in a, I don't know, literally a psychopathic political culture, and I mean that literally seriously in the psychological manner. Would you consider that?
If I'd be ready to make a film about politicians.
Using this kind of mediation with a psychotherapist?
Now, if I can find somebody who looks like Putin or looks like Trump or playing Trump or pretend to be Putin, yes, of course. But I don't think that those kind of guys are interested in a technique like this. They have another goal in their life, I think.
I don't really know if mine's a question or not, but I don't know if you already introduced yourself and I didn't quite catch it before, but I was just wondering why psychotherapy, why emotions, why mother and daughter? Like, I want to know more about your background and why you've been inspired to make something about family.
We want to.
Sorry, I've been...
No, it's okay. I made a film a couple of years ago. I made a film about and with my father. The title was Father and Son. It was kind of very intimate and rough talk between two protagonists. It means my father and me. We took a journey from Warsaw to Paris using a camper van, and we had 2 cameras, and we tried to resolve our family problems without psychotherapists. Just alone, because we were like very proud we can do it, you know. And it occurred that we cannot use a camera as a psychotherapist. You really need a living person. So the experiment finished with 2 films in the end, because my father insisted, and he created his own version of the story from the same material, and we quarreled not talking to each other for 3 years, you know. So now it's funny, yes, but during the process it wasn't very much. But now it's okay. It means I even text him, because it's Father's Day today, so I even text him. And then I realized, looking on my computer, that it's your Father's Day, because our Father's Day is in 2 weeks. So he was very surprised. So maybe that's why I choose this subject of the film. So this kind of conversation that could really lead to something good to the protagonist, that could resolve some problems or help to find a common language between two protagonists. Good kind of talk.
Any more questions?
Pani Miała.
I mean, thank you for making me cry for 80 minutes. No, but I know you said you had a very brief sort of directorial session with them, but I want to know how you got them to trust the 3 cameras so much and to open up and, you know, and not just on set but off set.
Yeah. No, it wasn't me really. If I have an experience from documentary filmmaking that if something interesting and very intense is happening between the protagonists, so they forget about the camera or cameras after 3, 4, 5 minutes. You know, it's just like this. So they really got very deep inside this process, because for me it's a film about process, about change, about how they could deal with their deep hidden emotions, and we can see that those emotions are coming up to the surface, and they are relieved, from it. So it was a combination of those two women having the same story and being very brave and open, and so we decided to put away another 25 different, sometimes very good sessions in order to leave only this one pair of people in the film. So it was a very hard choice to do, but I think it's okay. It's much better to have one story in the film than 10 or 12 stories, different stories. And
Sorry, and how long were the sessions?
the sessions, in normal settings, 50 minutes. Yeah, so each, so it was like 5 times 50 minutes. And we have to cut it a bit, because if not, we will have like more than 3 hours or 4 hours of film. Nobody will survive it. We have to structure it a bit and dramatize it a bit, and yeah.
Great. I think we've got time for just one more question here.
Did you ever consider revealing at the beginning that they're not really mother and daughter, or was that always something that's going to be revealed at the end, and what was the thinking about that?
I was afraid to do it because it could be a spoiler, as they say in Polish language. So it's like in a thriller, giving the information who was the killer in the beginning. Sometimes it's happening, it's good for the film, but I think in this case it will provoke another questions which are not good in the beginning, but they are good to have it in the end.
It allows you a belief in
Yes.
that relationship,
Yes.
and therefore to go on that journey with them, I think. Yeah.
So for me it was much more universal, because it means that everybody can be mother, father, or daughter for somebody else, and it is working because we are very common, we are human beings, and we know all those relations very, very well. Yeah.
Well, thank you very much, Pawel, for joining us. It's been great to share this film. Thank you.